General Keane, thank you for your time. Always great to talk to you. In China, the dictator tells his military to prepare for war. In the US, though, Admiral Charles Richard warns that you're not ready for war. Is he right?
Yeah, the Admiral is basically correct. I mean, what he is saying to us is something observers like myself have been saying for a number of years. And also there's been a couple of congressional commissions that have come to the same conclusion. And the facts are that the United States doesn't have a military deterrent that's effective against China. China literally outguns us and outmans us. They have more airplanes, more ships, more offensive missiles, more defensive missiles than the United States has. And if we had to fight a war with them, we would be doing it in their backyard. And our viewers completely understand the distances involved here. From the west coast of the United States to the conflict area is 2 weeks by sea. So yes, China has an advantage. And the concern that we have is, as President Xi has said time and time again, he's going to resolve the Taiwan issue by force if necessary. And now he has more powers as a result of the 20th Party Congress than any leader of China since Mao Zedong, that the military lack of an effective deterrence, as the Admiral points out, could be an incentive for President Xi to take action. And that is the concern that we all have.
Is it just a question of size and distance from the conflict zone, or are you behind in some weaponry technologically compared to China? The Admiral mentions, for example, that the hypersonic rockets that China has just stun the US.
Yes, they've caught up to us by and large in quality of technology in terms of airplanes, missiles, ships, aircraft carriers, and they've advanced beyond us in terms of what is referred to as hypersonic glide missiles that have the capability to orbit the Earth, and we can't track it, and we don't know where it's going. And if you put a nuclear weapon on that, that absolutely breaks down the standoff that we've guaranteed ourselves with ourselves in Russia and China for all these many years in terms of strategic stability. In other words, if they fired a ballistic missile, we can track it and know if it's coming to the United States, and there's time for us to return an attack on them, which deters them from doing just that. So that deterrence, actually, in terms of nuclear capability, is eroding as well, as you mentioned, advanced technology that the United States has yet to field.
And of course, China's got another advantage. It doesn't seem to care as much about human life, human losses on its side, whereas America's, of course, hypersensitive to that. Now, I just wonder then, what shape is President Joe Biden going to be in when he meets President Xi Jinping next week, as predicted, in Indonesia, given, well, these elections are likely to be giving him a weaker position? You've got his military warning, or some of the military warning his military's not in shape, while President Xi is going around saying prepare for war. It's not going to actually be a meeting of equals in that sense, is it?
Yeah, well, this gives us some pause for concern. If you take a look at the Ukraine-Russia situation, many of us are convinced, Andrew, that Putin probably would not have invaded except for the fact that Biden was president. He put 70,000 troops on the border of Ukraine in March within 60 days of Biden becoming president. Biden stopped a shipment of weapons to Ukraine because he did not want to provoke Putin. I believe Putin saw that as weakness. And after the Afghanistan fiasco, he put 170,000 troops on the border of Ukraine in the fall of 21 and invaded after the holidays. Our concern certainly is, I'm not a political expert, but the political experts are telling all of us in the United States that as a result of today's election, President Biden will have a significant political setback. and as a result of that will be weaker as a president. And going into the meeting with President Xi, hopefully it does take place in Bali in a week or so, because it would be a good thing for these two leaders to talk to each other. I mean, the historical cycle that's got us concerned is that rising powers normally get in conflict with ruling powers. That has been the history of the world. And that is what we're facing here with China, a rising superpower, and the United States, an existing one. And President Xi has expressed the ambition to replace the United States as the world's global leader. So, yes, the discussions going to take place are significant, and it's likely that President Biden is playing a weaker hand, certainly, as a result of the election, if it turns out as predicted.